That's how they discovered that originally came up with the theory that the dinosaurs had been killed in this great impact, was because they discovered a layer that's right there at that KT boundary layer, 66 million years old, below which you had dinosaurs and above which there were no dinosaurs. In the late 1970s, they took a closer look at that layer, and they discovered it was more than 100 times richer in iridium than below or above that layer. They said, where the hell did all this iridium come from? Well, they knew that iridium is delivered to Earth via cosmic impact. And they contacted their colleagues, first in Denmark, then in New Zealand, because they were trying to determine, well, how widespread was this? It looks like there was a dusting of iridium. Well, they contacted their colleagues in other places around the world, and they said, go back, take a closer look at that KT boundary layer, and see if there's an iridium spike. And in every case, there was an enormous enhancement of iridium, which led them to then believe that the entire planet got dusted with iridium. So how do you do that? Well, again, you blow up an asteroid. They were able to estimate, okay, we've got X amount of iridium. Given the percentages of iridium that we know is in an asteroid, how big of an asteroid would it have to be? And they came up with they did the math on it. So it's going to have to be about 6 miles in diameter. Then they said, okay, if you've got a 6-mile diameter asteroid with a closing velocity of 20 miles per second, what size crater is that going to create? 150 miles roughly in diameter.
Holy
so they
shit.
speculated, said, somewhere there must be a 150-mile crater if we're right. All the skeptics were saying, well, until you can show us the crater, we're not buying into this, that they're, because that's too drastically different than our old models of gradual extinction, right? Well, at the same time, Petroleum Mexico is drilling in the northern Yucatan Peninsula. And they had drilled down about through a half a kilometer of limestone sediment, and at the bottom of that drill core, they hit something hard. They brought up samples of it. It was this green, vitrified, really dense glass-like material. Their first assumption was volcanic. Well, word of this eventually got to some American scientists that were trying to figure out what happened at the KT boundary. They went down there, they got more samples, and they started doing subsurface surveys, and they could see that there was a giant circular structure buried under a half a mile of limestone. And this green vitrified stuff was the rock that had melted in the superheated temperatures that were created by this impact. So it was a long process, but this occurred in like the early 90s. 3 teams separately proposed that the extinction of the dinosaurs at the KT boundary was triggered by an impact. The team of Walter and Louis Alvarez, who studied the outcrop in Italy, theirs seemed to be the most accurate in terms of what we now know happened then. But it took a decade for them to be vindicated, and it was with the discovery of that huge crater and the dating of that crater that, again, right there, 66 million years ago.